Well, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob. Today, in this video, I'm going to review the new Baby Audio. That's the name of the company, the software developer, Baby Audio, Crystalline Reverb. What I have here is a construction kit from Dave Parkinson's Trance Essentials, which is probably about a 5 or 6 year old sample library. And we're just going to play around with some reverb, use it as a subject, okay? All right, so this is Crystalline, and it's quite I really kind of like it a lot. First of all, it comes in white, or you can switch it to black. Let's switch it to black. And as you can see, it's got a waveform in the middle. Now let's just go over what we've got here in this track real quick. It starts off with a kick. Oh, let me get the gain back on. Then it's got a mid bass. Then it's got a bottom bass. Then it's got an acid. It doesn't kick into right here. Then it has a lead that was already treated with reverb. So I'm not going to use that. This construction kit gives you the MIDI too, so I just basically picked a Dune patch here. And it already has some delay. The delay just adds a little bit of bounce and groove. It does not have any reverb on it as yet, but we'll get to that. Then we've got a pad here. Okay. Then we've got a percussion loop. We've got some rides. And there's a snare build. Whoops, I have both of them on there. I'm going to mute that. In fact, I think I'm going to hide that so I don't do that again. Okay. All right, so let's get started here. Now, obviously, I'm not going to put reverb on the kick, although I could if it were like an 80s track. Now, with this mid bass, it is sometimes desirable to give the mid bass a place to live in. So let's do that real quick. I have a little setup right here, Synth Ambience. Here's all your presets right here. And then down here, Synth Ambience. All right, and I played around with it. So let's just add a little bit of reverb to this. You wouldn't want that much. Now, it's interesting, this reverb. I'm going to switch it back to white so you can read a little bit better here. This, you can play around with this. It has a ducker, and I'll show you what that does. Let's turn it way up and then get it real wet here. You'll see what that does. So you can have just a little ambience and have it mostly ducked out of the way. And then I also you have the ability to turn the transients up. Make them louder. Now if I turn this down, not quite as loud, but if you turn it up, makes the transients more pronounced. Or you can make the sustain longer. Which is kind of an interesting concept for a reverb. All right, so let's move on to not going to do the sub bass, obviously. Oops, not sub bass. And it's got this acid here, so. Whoops. Now I'd put it through a voice warm or Vox warm vintage, just to give it a little bit of space to live in. Okay, so let's. In fact, right off the bat, I'm going to turn that down a little bit, that bass. Just want a little bit of space for it to live in. I'll turn it on and off. Just a little bit of slap almost, okay? And then when the acid comes in, don't want to add too much. Okay, now let's bring in the pluck. Let's listen to that in isolation. Whoops. Now I have a synth hall long, and I've got it adjusted to about 2 seconds of decay, and that's kind of in this plugin it's identified as the end or the tail, and the decay it's milliseconds. You could also set this to sync to the DAW, and you can adjust the note length. But we have it on milliseconds, that's 2 seconds. So let's add a little bit of that. Now when you get into something like that, you can go over here to some damping, and you get that kind of that high stuff, you can cut that away. And not too much of it. That should be pretty good. And then you can add a little bit of the transient back. Okay, now let's move on to the pad. Now the pad comes in a little bit later in the sequence here. Let's do this in isolation. Now I have this on Hall, Synth Hall Black Hole. Now this has just a ton of modulation, as you can hear. You can adjust your modulation. That kind of plays around with the tonality, has a little bit of kind of chorusy drift, and it was turned up all the way. Then you also have shimmer, which will, although I haven't really investigated that too much, then it also has a little bit of sparkle here. Let's play with that here. Can't really hear a difference on that, I would suspect. In fact, I'll give it a little bit of a try on the percussion, which is coming up next. Okay, so here we go. Okay, then the percussion loop. Now I have this on a Drum Bus Studio 01. Let's give it a little bit of space to live in. Okay, I want to have a little bit of the highs in there. All right. Now you also get the width. I'm going to play with this width control. Now listen to the difference here. also want it nice and wide in Trance. Add a little bit of transients back. Add a little bit of ducking. Okay, let's add the ride. I'm not going to add anything to the ride because it has a really long release anyways. So just going to leave that as is. All right, and then we have this little snare build. Let me get in position here. Okay, I'm going to turn it up as it starts feathering in here. Okay. Just to give it a little bit of ambience. And I have the basic plate there. Okay, now let's hear it all together here. In fact, I'm going to do this. Select all of the channels and then turn them on and off, and we can go A and B. See what you think. Now, the interesting thing that you'll notice with this arrangement, this Dave Parkinson construction kit that you can get in that sample library, is that the mere fact that it has a delay on the lead. Let me play it here. Now, this is with everything turned off. This is all the reverb turned off. It makes it sound big. Just that delay bouncing back and forth. And when you add the reverb in, it really kind of makes it sound polished and smooth and takes it to the next level. And I wasn't really smothering everything with reverb, but it makes a big difference. And I really think this is a great new plugin. I would highly recommend it. I think the price is on sale, half price, introductory price, $49. I would highly recommend it. That's basically cheapest you're going to find of reverb of this quality. There are others out there. Valhalla reverbs are excellent. I believe $50. I would highly recommend this. I really like it because of the controls. And I didn't really get in real deep into some of the things you can do with this start and the sync. You can do a lot of special effects. You can really tailor your reverb mix if you put these on individual channels with your width control here. The sparkle, let's get back to the project here and let's see if we can hear that sparkle real quick. Percussion. And let's see if we can. Just kind of opens it up a little bit. It's probably just a little bit of upper end exciter on the higher end. hear that? It's very subtle, but it's there. When you get it, you can play around with that. It's very versatile. I give it a high rating. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll just fade on out here. Thank you very much for watching. And if you like this video, hit the thumbs up. Helps other people find my videos. And thank you very much, and have a good one.